Say, what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down! Yeah, you know, we supposed to hop into another Free Game Friday. Actually, I was just gonna not even do the Free Game Friday today, but I had made a promise to somebody, and I definitely want to keep my word, you know. I made a promise to a good friend, and actually that good friend, his name is Marcellus. You know, he's from Compton, man, and he done 31 years, actually 31 years, 8 months to be exact, you know, on a life sentence. And I had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of years before he actually was found suitable. That's what they call it in California when you're a lifer and they finally, the parole board grants you, you know, basically tell you can go home. They call it being found suitable. So anyway, you know, I was there, we chopped it up and stuff, and you know, he came home actually a couple years before I did, so he'd been home a while. But he wrote a book about his experiences in prison. The name of that book is called A Masquerade, you know, and so I want him to come on my channel eventually, man, and expound more on that book, talk about his experiences in prison, the way he matured and the way he evolved and things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully he'll be on here pretty soon, man. So shouts out to Big Marcellus from Compton, man, an original. Actually, with that being said, man, that's a good way for me to break into this my little Free Game Friday story. Now, my Free Game Friday story, the reason why I named it When the Preacher No Longer Believes in God, because I'm gonna talk about a good friend of mine. Now, my friend, he's a couple years older than me, right? So this dude was really with the business, man. He was really in the street. You know, this dude was squabbing, taking fades. He didn't hesitate to bust his gun or whatever. You know, the dude was really with the shit. You know what I'm saying? So, and by him being a few years older than me, he hopped in the street before I did. So, you know, he'd be gone for a couple years, you know, and then I'd seen on the day he got out, man, this dude would be right back in the stolen car. You know, we call it a G-Ride. He'd be in the G-Ride, you know what I'm saying? Dope sack, big fat gun on his lap. You know, this dude was, and I'm thinking like, damn, man, you just got out. You back to that shit again? You know, this is when like I said, I was young. And he was, you know, he was with the activity 100%. And then, so I believe in 1993, he was arrested on a parole violation. And so a parole violation, you know, back then, or even now, I don't know, but back then you had to do a year. So when he done his year and was getting ready to get out, they charged him with several crimes, which led to his current situation today. And outside of any intervention from the courts, if he don't get, you know, if he's unable to be successful on his appeal and get his case overturned, unfortunately, he's never coming home. And that's just the harsh reality of the situation, you know. So when I was captured by the police in '94, we was in the county again, you know. So we met back up in the county. We spent several years in the county, you know. I stayed in the county about 2 years fighting my charges, and he was in there for about 5 or 6. So anyway, though, while he was in the county, man, he was all, like I say, he was with the business, pressing people about the phone, squabbing, you know what I'm saying? This dude, for lack of a better term, this dude was a gangster's gangster, man. You know, he stayed with the business, cool dude, but he was really with the shit. He was active, and he pressed a hard line, you know what I'm saying? If you came through there and you was soft, you wasn't where you wasn't from where you said you from, you know, he was on you. He gonna ask, you know, he gonna come to the door and interrogate you. Oh, you from such and such, huh? You know, because he had been to the pen a few times. And, you know, whoop-de-whoop, you know, whoop-de-whoop. If you didn't have the right answers, your ass was out of there with some lefts and rights upside your head, you know what I'm saying? So he was one of them cats. He was, you know, he was cool, but he was a line presser. So, you know, once I was incarcerated, we both stayed in contact with each other through letters and mail and things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? My mom and his mom was actually good friends. So we stayed in contact, you know, and now that I'm out, we still stay in contact, have many phone conversations and this and that. So one of our most recent phone conversations, you know, we just chopping up. And to his credit, he the same dude, man. He's upbeat. He's, you know, he's in good spirits all the time. He ain't never once whined or complained about the time that that he's doing. You know what I'm saying? He's laughing and joking. And he done made some transitions. He no longer goes by his gang nickname. You know what I'm saying? He no longer uses the N-word. You know, refer to women as bitches. He no longer endorses, you know, black on black crime, you know, Crip, blood type of bullshit, none of that type of shit, you know what I'm saying? So he's came a long way in changing his thinking and this and that. So, you know, and so like I say, during one of our conversations, we were just talking, you know, he just said, man, out the blue, he said, man, you know, he said, I ain't built for this shit. He said, yeah, man, I ain't built for this shit. Now what he was talking about was, you know, his incarceration period, doing 28, 29 years, however long he's been incarcerated, you know. And when you get to think about it, you know, when you think about it, who is built for that? You know what I'm saying? Who's built to be away from their family, their loved ones, good food, you know, women, you know what I'm saying? Just you know, being able to have your freedom, you know, being able to do what you want to do for 28, 29 years, you know what I'm saying? And then not only that, that's not even the cold part, you know, because by me having life, I also can empathize with what he was talking about. It's not even the time you did. It's not knowing the future, not knowing if you ever getting home, if you're ever even coming home. So, you know, because you, in your mind, you thinking like, damn, I got to deal with this indefinitely. So that's the hard part about having a life sentence or having life without parole or something like that, you know. So, but, you know, imagine, you know, so by him saying that, it was just like almost, that's why I use the analogy when the preacher no longer believes in God. Because imagine, you know, you've been growing up in church or whatever, and your preacher has always been, you know, preaching this to you, preaching how good God is and how good this certain thing is, and he believes in it wholeheartedly, and he's doing everything a preacher does, you know what I'm saying? And so he's preaching the gospel to you. Then all of a sudden one day he tell you he no longer believes in God, you know. That's almost equal, and I'm not comparing him to Michael Jordan or nothing like that, but I'm saying it was shocking, like when all of a sudden Jordan retired from basketball, you know, and the first time he retired, when he was at the top of his game, you know, he stunned everybody because he seemed to be the epitome of a basketball player. And this dude who I'm talking about, you know, he was the epitome of a gang member, you know what I'm saying? And so, like I say, I used to see him in the streets, you know, squabbing, busting his gun, doing all types of shit, man. This dude was when we talk about a real one, this dude was really a real one, you know what I'm saying? You know, he really believed in the values and those type of things that came with being in the street, and he stuck to them 100%. You know what I'm saying? So for him to suddenly have an epiphany and change his life was, you know, it wasn't mind blowing, but it makes a person think. You know what I'm saying? Because you have one dude on one end of the spectrum, he's full-fledged gang banging. Then several years down the line, he did a 360 in his thinking, you know, and now he's against everything that he once used to so diligently push. And so this is my question to the youngsters out there, man, because I done heard a lot of youngsters say this. Oh, man, you know, I'm 20 right now, man, but when I get, you know, 30, 35, I'm going to stop banging the hood. You know what I'm saying? So my question is, if you're going to stop banging when you're 30 or 35 because it's no longer beneficial, you might as well stop now. You know what I'm saying? So, because some of us don't even have the luxury of getting to be that old to make those changes. You know what I'm saying? Some of us have to make those changes from inside a prison. So, you know, that's my point that I'm trying to say is, how long will we continue to do things that we know are negative for us and could lead to us being in a position we don't want to be in? You know what I'm saying? And like I say, for him to just say those words, it was just like, you know, it was mind blowing, and it was also thought provoking to hear him say those things. You know, I'm not built for this, because this dude, like I say, he was a stomp down soldier. You know what I'm saying? But like I also say, who is built for that? Who's built to be in prison for the rest of their natural life, you know, taken away and removed from all the things that make life worth living, you know? And then, like I say too, by him having an upbeat attitude, you know, by him remaining strong, you know what I'm saying? It's mind blowing, because, you know, I can really, like I say, relate to that, because I was in a similar position, you know, and I never knew when I was coming home. And the only difference between me and him now is, fortunately, I was able to come home, you know. And so sometimes I lay back and I think like, man, what if I had got those type of sentences where I never had any action at ever being released from prison ever again, you know what I'm saying? And so, like I say, that's why I use that certain analogy when the preacher no longer believes in God, because when a person is so devoted and he has so much belief in a certain type of ideology, and then suddenly he no longer believes that, and he does a whole 360, you know, it's kind of mind-blowing. So I'm just checking the time, you know, and seeing what time we got up there, man. So that's all I'm gonna rock with y'all today on the Free Game Friday, is that right there, just to put that in your head, man. It's never too late if you're in the street now, man, to make a positive change, to back up, to step away, because at some point in time, through force or through choice, if you live long enough, you definitely gonna change and view the way you live life. Most of the time, you know what I'm saying? You're not just be running around here after a certain age, gang banging and this and that. And if you do, you really gonna seem like an ignorant person. So what I'm trying to say, man, if this is something that you eventually plan on stopping and getting out of in X amount of years down the line, because it's no longer, you know, beneficial or whatever, you might as well stop and get out now, man. So think about it. Make good life choices, man. And with that being said, Y'all have a good day. Resume normal program.